This game is just so ridiculously cool, from the big boss fights to the crazy set pieces, but also this is one of those experiences that I feel like 99% of the people who buy Sifu are not going to be able to beat it. But let's talk about that. What's up gamers, Dreamcastguy here, and this is my brutally honest review. Now if you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe. If this video happens to get 3,000 likes, I'm going to be giving away a copy of Sifu over on my Twitter. Now let's start things off by dissecting the gameplay itself, because here is definitely where the game is most fun. On the surface, this combat may appear to just be your standard brawler, those style of games where you're just trying to walk along and fight people as they cross your path, those classic beat-em-ups. But the big difference is that Sifu is very much paying homage to classic martial arts movies, those old tales where it's somebody trying to exact the ultimate tale of vengeance, and during the course of it, there is a lot of very crazy set pieces. The character we're playing as is just a monster. This guy is able to take on every single target, counter blows, uppercut people, throws people off balconies, and in all the different spots, from nightclubs to museums to botanist gardens. The tale of destruction you leave in this is just so ridiculous. But what's interesting about this game is that technically, it's kind of short. There's only 5 separate levels in Sifu, but I think most people, if you're skilled enough to beat this game, you're probably going to finish it in about 10 hours. What really begins to stretch out the gameplay loop of Sifu, though, is the fact that even though these levels are relatively short, they are so freaking tough that you're going to be attempting them again and again and again until eventually you get success. But there is a cost to failure in Sifu that is part of what makes it so unique. You see, our main character has a magical ability. When he dies, he doesn't die. Instead, he just gets 1 year older. So you can stab me in the chest and I go from 35 to 36. But this multiplies. If you die once, you get 1 additional year just instantly added on. But if you die multiple times in a row, the second time you die, you lose 2 years of your life. The third time you die, you lose 3 years of your life. So you are just rapidly aging in the halls of these different places, fighting people off and trying to survive the best you can before you frickin' turn to dust. Now here's what's interesting about it is that every single level you are trying to do your best to basically avoid getting hit, trying to dodge people and counter blows, but there's also this interesting boss system. As you take down the more powerful enemies, they will reduce deaths off your death counter. So basically there's times where you can be 5 or 6 deaths into this game and then suddenly you start cleaning out a bunch of bosses flawlessly, and that's going to reduce your death counter, which means the next time you die, you're only going to get 1 year added onto your lifespan. It essentially creates this system where you feel very, very punished by every single death, which is appropriate, but also you feel kind of rewarded just for managing to survive each of these sometimes very messy fights. Now, before we talk about the leveling system, I just want to really get into the combat and the craziness of it. Sifu is a brilliant martial arts game. This is a freaking masterpiece. Our main character is very much somebody that was raised in the world of martial arts, growing up in a dojo, so they're very, very experienced at the fluidity of combat. Now, anybody who's ever actually read any books about martial arts or watched any interviews with martial artists, of course, knows very famous quotes from things like Bruce Lee, the flow like water, crash against people. It is epic when you get a chance to do that. There is a philosophy to fighting in this game that is just gorgeous to see in motion. Like, it's hard not to just show you like 50 minutes of uncut gameplay for this review, because just in action, those times where you manage to survive somebody trying to ambush you with a staff and then you manage to steal it from them and do a giant takedown, this game is so savage at times. But let me talk about the focus and the dodge system. Essentially, there's like this exhaustion meter. So as you slowly get staggered more and more, it's going to make you take extra damage. Now, this can go back down between fights. It's basically just times where, like, if you're fighting somebody on a set of stairs, or if you're trying to block people a lot, getting hit in the freaking hands a lot, eventually it's going to make you staggered and more easy to get taken down. It trains you to have a lot of situational awareness because it's very much required. If these people manage to surround you or hit you from the back or stagger you by using this freaking system, you can instantly be killed. If somebody smashes you in the back of the head or manages to knock you off a ledge or something like that, your character dies, and that's going to add time onto your counter. And I like that. I like the fact that you can't just walk in and get punched from every single direction. You have to fight smart. You have to draw people into corners. You cannot just be the unstoppable Terminator killing machine you probably envision. But this also brings me to the focus system. You are able to do these like special takedowns whenever you build up this energy that lets you do things like essentially immediately drop one person, do a bigger slow-mo foot sweep. Now these are basically good for the heavier targets. The random minions, you don't even need to use this on them. A lot of those guys only take 4 or 5 basic punches, or if you have a big old pipe, usually you can knock them out with just a single big blow. Focus is this additional resource that helps you basically tip the balance in those really, really sloppy mega fights that do happen quite often. Let me just say, this game is so freaking addictive. Straight up, one of the most interesting things about it is that every time you play through the level, it saves that universe. So basically, if you died 5 times on level 1, then you may only be able to die like 6 times on level 2, and so on and so forth. If you die a bunch early on in the game, then you can't die at all on stages 4 and 5. There is a rolling age. You do not suddenly become younger later in the game. So a lot of times, after you've practiced, after you've gotten more used to the system, after you've powered up your focus abilities, you need to go back to the early stages so you can beat them flawlessly and go into the later stages with a fresh young face. Sifu is truly one of those games that practice makes perfect to the biggest degree, where you being good at the game is a greater weapon than the weapons you're actually picking up. Just knowing when to dodge and when to parry when you're actually supposed to do another big strike against somebody is more efficient and more important than just being able to have all the abilities unlocked. Now, I do want to quickly say there is an experience point system, but this is something that feels a little bit strange. As you're defeating people, you do get experience points that do give you a chance to buy permanent upgrades. Now, these are basically just extra moves, extra counters, extra abilities to basically hold triangle and do one long super punch and stuff like that. They're not very big flourishes, but they basically just they feel like extra training, extra abilities your character has unlocked just by practicing the ways of the fist. And they're okay, but honestly, my biggest detriment to this game is that once it's done, it definitely feels done. Like, once you've completed everything and defeated the last boss, it clearly wants you to repeat the levels again purely for fun and to find the other hidden collectibles. There is a little bit of branching path. While you're beating particular levels, sometimes you'll get special items that'll let you take shortcuts or go into back rooms and stuff like that. A pair of keys or a key card that let you go into extra paths and zones and stuff. And that's cool, but once a level was completely beaten and I'd seen what I needed to see, I didn't really go back. I mean, the main reason I would repeat a stage is because I really enjoyed a lot of the martial arts references. I am such a sucker for kung fu movies. They do so many freaking homages to things like Tony Jaa films, old Jackie Chan films. There is a straight up set piece from the very famous fight scene, the hallway fight from Oldboy. They let you reenact the famous Oldboy fight scene. I was fanboying so hard that this exists. This game just feels so respectful to those classic kung fu movies, to the art of martial arts. It's fun, it's addictive, it's brutal as heck, and guess what? You are going to die a lot. You are going to see the game over pretty much constantly, but even at the end of it, you're probably going to try again, but this is one of those games that requires a lot of patience. Okay, so we've heard a lot of good and a little bit of bad, but let's go over the ratings board and put a big number on it. I am giving Sifu a 9 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a giant thumbs up. Seriously, liking videos helps me out a lot. Thanks to all the new subscribers, all the new people that have been leaving nice comments, or people who are saying I'm ugly. Guess what? I don't care. I'm just being silly. You guys rock. Thank you for watching. Please do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Oh man, and play Sifu. If you're in the mood to get your butt kicked, this is the Dark Souls of getting punched. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.